What Nelly Korda is doing right now doesn't happen very often.
She is the Caitlin Clark of women's golf. She's clearly the dominant player in the game.
The LPGA took a giant cannonball leap into its Nelly era.
It's a Korda kick again at the finish, and it's enough for Nelly to win for the 9th time. And one of the LPGA's A-listers gets it done. And how about her start to 2024 after going winless last year? Nelly Korda is unstoppable. A dominant performance.
It's pretty special stuff. I mean, to win 4 times in a row and then show up at a major championship and win is extremely impressive.
The incredible winning streak continues as Nelly Korda captures the Chevron Championship.
Nelly Korda back in the winner's circle. 6 wins in 8 starts. And for the 3rd time, she wins the Annika, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican. Nelly is back in a big way. Player of the Year in 2024.
What a season it has been for the world number 1. 7 wins, her 2nd major, including as well Rolex Player of the Year honours. Paige McKenzie, Amy Rogers, let's just have a look at the year that has been on the LPGA Tour. And I feel like Nelly Korda is a great place to start, Paige. What she has done inside the ropes, it has just been historic. 7 wins, 5 on the bounce as well. Give us some context as to just how impressive this has been.
So you heard Scottie Scheffler kind of parse out exactly to me what was so significant about this year is she won 4 in a row and everybody's watching it. I mean, the amount of buzz going on around Nelly Korda with each and every consecutive win was incredible. And then that 5th one, the 5th in a row was going to be at Chevron, the first major championship of the year. And it was incredible to witness. It was probably one of the most goosebump-inspired things I've ever witnessed, to be able to watch kind of the crowd and everybody buoy her in. It was one of the longest days in golf because she had to finish the 3rd round that morning. But to deliver with that kind of pressure was just impressive stuff from Nelly Korda.
Yeah, but Paige, it was really a moment that I think everyone was waiting for. I mean, to have this breakout moment by an American star on the LPGA Tour in such a dominant fashion was something that we really hadn't seen for decades in women's golf. And to see her come out and dominate the way she did, what really struck me was the players that I spoke to, how they were responding to what Nelly Korda did this season on the course. And they were really inspired by her. There was sort of a motivation amongst the players to try and keep up with her, to keep pace. And I think there was a feeling of, hey, this is possible. I could go out and do this too. So it was really interesting to see how the players responded, wanting to keep pace and potentially have their own moment like she was having as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't just what she did inside the ropes, Amy. Yes, that was remarkable, but it was really how she took that success and she put it outside the ropes as well. And she tried to really transcend the game in terms of going to the Met Gala and being on the front cover of Sports Illustrated. She needed a fire extinguisher. She looked so hot on the front cover of that magazine, and it was exactly what the LPGA needed. How important has that side of her personality and profile been, Amy, this year in terms of raising the game across the board?
I mean, talk about a burden to feel like you need to go out and carry this on your shoulders. I mean, she knows what we've all talked about the LPGA, seeking more eyeballs and more attention. And unfortunately, it's not really in her character to go out and do a lot of these things. She is a little bit more reserved and a little bit more shy. So she did gravitate towards a few things that she was more comfortable with, like these images we're seeing of her at the Met Gala where she looked fantastic, you know, but she didn't have to engage too much. She was able to kind of, you know, be a wallflower, if you will, in this beautiful floral gown at the Met Gala, and then go on to do, you know, the swimsuit issue as well, something that I asked her about. She said she got a little bit more comfortable with that as it sort of went on.
What's interesting, Amy, is you're right. It doesn't come natural to her, but one of the things that we witnessed this year is some of the self-deprecating humor. And it was funny, I was talking to Brandel Chambly about this early in the season, and I said, she's a lot like Xander Schauffele. She's got this really quiet sense of humor. And he's like, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And then when the U.S. Open happened, and she had that 10 on the par 3, and she posted on Twitter or X something about a perfect 10, joking and having that self-deprecating humor after the Olympics. Same thing. How was your round, or how was your week? And she said it was great, other than a triple and three doubles. She is funny, and we were able to see that, and she was able to kind of let loose in those moments and be herself. She doesn't have to be overwhelmingly engaging. She doesn't have to be overwhelmingly charismatic. She has to be authentic, and that's what people love. And I think this year, this season in particular, we got to see that part of Nelly Korda.
I totally agree. You can sort of always see her from afar, kind of joking around with her sister Jessica and her friends and her family. And for the first time this year, she shared a little bit of that with the fans as well and with the media. So Nelly, keep doing what you are doing, because she's just been a remarkable asset to the game this season. Okay, well, another person who has been such an asset to the LPGA, that is the historic season that it was for Lydia Ko. She competed the Olympic medal sweep, winning gold in Paris as well. She previously took home silver in Rio, bronze, of course, in Tokyo, and it was just a fantastic moment. She got the 27th point she needed to secure her spot in the LPGA Hall of Fame as well. And then not only that, ladies, she went a few weeks later to earn her third major title at the AIG Women's Open in St Andrews. Amy, it was just a fairy tale year. She called it a fairy tale year herself, and no doubt she's hoping that the fairy tale will continue. I know she's got her eyes now on the career Grand Slam, but in terms of history, this feels like a real standout season for Lydia.
Oh, 100%. I realized as this is unfolding, I was up there in NBC with Paige as we're watching this final round of the Olympics unfold, and I'm thinking, this is it. This is going to be her mic drop moment. She is going to retire, and this is going to be the end of Lydia Ko, because she's hinted she's going to retire at age 30. What more could she possibly need to achieve? She's going to have every medal at this point, all three. She'll have gotten the gold, and with it, into the Hall of Fame. Thankfully, I was wrong, and she quickly dispelled the retirement rumors right after she captured the gold and said she still wanted to achieve more. And then to see her turn around to win at St. Andrews, of all places, at a third win on the season in Cincinnati. I've asked her about this stretch multiple times since this is kind of all unfolded in this latter half of the season. And you mentioned it a minute ago, Anna. She keeps using the word fairy tale, and I really don't think there's a better word to describe what Lydia Ko has done this year.
Paige, it's
yeah, it was an incredible. Sorry, Anna, I didn't mean to jump in on you, but it was an incredible season to watch for Lydia Ko, and it was one of those moments when we saw that unfold as you described that reminds me of when you're in a concert and you know that that final song is coming and you just want to savor the very end of it, and you're thankful for the ability to call out for an encore, that the band comes back out and lets you listen to another last song. I feel like with Lydia Ko, we know the concert is ending. She tells us that frequently. When she won the gold, she said, "I knew this was going to be my last Olympics." And so I think for now, we're savoring these moments that we're getting with Lydia Ko in the same way you watch one of the most historic bands perform in front of your eyes. You know you're watching history, and you know you're watching something special.
Yeah, and you don't know how much longer you're going to be able to watch it for, which makes you treasure it even more. I mean, she was no doubt arguably the most special major win that we saw this season, Paige. But we also had Yuka Sasso winning the US Women's Open, Amy Yang at the KPMG as well, and of course Ayaka Foodaway winning over at the Evian. I feel like we have been a little bit spoiled with our winners this season. How would you sum up the major year on the LPGA?
It's not just a feeling, Anna. We have been spoiled. And the reality is we've had some of the best headline names win the major championships this year. In fact, it's the first time since 2016 that we've had the #1 in the world win a major championship while being ranked #1 in the world. And when you look at the world rank of those names, you see what I'm talking about. It was a top-heavy year for major winners. That has not been the standard. Over the last 2 seasons, you can see the average world rank was 18th this year. Last year was very similar strength at average world rank being 17th. But look at the seasons prior. You had 37, 43, 124. That was a big outlier year in 2020. And 2019, similar story, where you're finding 1 or 2 major champions that might be ranked outside the top 50, that might have one outside the top 100 in the world. It's not predictable names. It's not the household names. And I think this is significant for the LPGA Tour because they're not on the networks every single week. They're not on the big NBC shows until the major championships. That's why you need the headliners to deliver. You need the household names to deliver when you have the most eyeballs on it. And that's what's exciting about what's gone on the last couple of seasons. And just for context, and why this is significant and why it's something I have tracked for the last several years, is on the PGA Tour side, over the last 3 seasons, the average world rank of the major champions have been 15 in the world. And that includes Bryson and Brooks, who have been on LIV and don't have accurate world ranking points. So when you look at it and you realize that on the men's side, when those biggest moments happen, the most eyeballs on them, the biggest names deliver, that's part of the reason why they're successful. And the LPGA hasn't had that consistently over the last decade. But the last 2 seasons, it's been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, it is imperative that the big names perform under the brightest spotlights. Paige, you are absolutely right. And just before we finish things up, Amy, we've got to touch on what we saw unfold at the CME Group Tour Championship just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we were all out there, and that Sunday was absolutely thrilling. It was ultimately Jeeno Thitikul who managed to take down the putting prowess of Angel Yin. She was just ridiculous on the greens, but ultimately Thitikul took home $4 million to win her 4th LPGA Tour title, 2nd of the season. She's just 21 years of age, Amy. How have you seen her game and her personality as well just flourish this season?
Well, Paige talks about household names. Jeeno Thitikul isn't one yet, but she could be very soon, especially after the performance we saw from her this year. Remarkable, she missed the first 3 months of the season with a thumb injury. Didn't even start her year till the Chevron Championship in April, but wasted no time getting right back to work. She racked up 10 top 10 finishes, plus 2 victories. And we really didn't have a rival for Nelly Korda this season, someone to go toe-to-toe with her, to push her down the stretch at several of these events throughout the year and route to victory. But I think Thitikul could be that person next season, someone for us to keep an eye on. She's led the tour in scoring average the last 2 seasons. And what I love about Thitikul, every time I speak with her, she has an incredible personality. I love that she was open and honest about what she was going to do with this $4 million she could win. She's like, I'm going shopping. It was fantastic to see that character and that personality come out, which the LPGA so needs. So I think she could be a fantastic character for the LPGA going forward and potentially a rival for Nelly Korda as well.
Yeah, she said just how much her team knows, how much money she spends. So she really did need the $4 million. I think she also went to Disneyland for the first time to celebrate in the couple of days after her wins. So I'm looking to see those photos as well. She is such a sweet character and a great sense of humour as well. Another highlight that we saw this season, guys, that was no doubt the Annika driven by Gamebridge. It was WNBA's superstar, Caitlin Clark. She made the headlines. She competed in the Pram alongside world number 1 Nelly Korda there and Annika Sorenstam as well. This seemed like a transcendent moment in the women's game that we saw on the LPGA this year. Paige, how big do you think this partnership can go between Caitlin Clark and the LPGA and just what it can do for our game?
I think bigger picture than that is just that you have one of the biggest names in sport that wants to play golf. And you got a bunch of kids, probably 10, 11, 12 years old, that are playing basketball and saying, you know what, she plays golf, maybe I will too. And to me, that's where the impact's going to be made long term, is you might get an introduction now, but they might be lifelong golf players the rest of their life.
And speaking of long term, I'd love to see how the LPGA can partner with Clark going forward. So this isn't just a one-off, just a one-time moment that, yeah, we got these headlines, we checked that box. But because you have someone in Clark who does love golf, and she's already showed an interest in wanting to come out to these events, perhaps there's a way the two can partner going forward to capitalize on this momentum. You know, Clark's out in Iowa. The Solheim Cup was there back in 2017. Maybe she can help to bring an event there. Who knows? But I think there's an opportunity here for the LPGA to work with her on an ongoing basis.
Yes, she is wearing her LPGA hoodie, loud and proud. Caitlin Clark, you can come and join us on the LPGA Tour anytime. Ladies, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time reflecting on the 2024 LPGA season. We'll see you very soon.